Wait. Oh, I have to start recording. Boom. That's good. We're good to go.
It's good that you start at the bottom, Corn.
I think it's good. I think we're good.
Yeah, have a double check, mate.
Jeez. All right. Welcome to Knifemaking Downunder, Australia's least professional knife making. In fact, probably the world's least professional knife making podcast.
Whoa, that's a pretty big claim.
I've got home brew tonight that looks like some weird shit.
That shit looks like Timmy Ford's milk.
It does, doesn't it? But it's actually you know Joe Brunetta from Gamaco, Ball Knives. Joe's mother made it for me, and it's some lemon liqueur, Italian lemon liqueur. Tastes like
limoncello.
That's probably what it is. Yeah, it's all right. Jesus. Cheers, Joe. Cheers, brother. Right. I got to follow that up with a bit of Lefroy as well to get the taste out. Sorry, no, to be happy days. All right, where were we? All right, so welcome back. Who have we got tonight? Barry Gardner. So, guys, we've got a special guest tonight, Barry Gardner from Gardner Knives. Barry's based down in Seppeltsfield, South Australia, and has been running a very successful knife school there for probably 7 or 8 years, Barry?
Yep, that's correct. G'day, guys. Yep.
So we'll be interviewing him tonight in our usual style. And, of course, we've got
Kev from Kev Sport. Our usual style of all over the place.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, I have my wife listening tonight to see what I like Thursday nights when I'm home. I'm sorry, Goichi. She's not going to be happy, dude. My wife won't even watch this shit.
Hello, Mrs. Goichi Forging Steel.
We got 55 people out there now. Well, one just dropped off. They're a good choice. Oh, 2. All right, now what are we going to do? Kev, take over, mate. What do we got? What's happening this week?
What's been happening this week? That's a good question. Same as last week. Just watching Corin's face. He's having a sip of the limoncello. You got to. If you listen to the podcast, you've got to tune in on Thursday night to see the shit we get up to. Adds another element to this. Where have we been up to, or what have we been up to? I'm still struggling with my back at the moment, but I have had more workshop time, which is good. And I managed to actually get a whole lot of stuff done today, which was awesome. So my orders, which were looking a bit, I was kind of looking at my orders with a bit of doom and gloom, like how the hell am I getting this done? Now I'm actually confident that I'm going to get it done. I've even taken on a couple more. So you just can't beat the stupidity of saying, yeah, I'll do that for you. It's just like, can't switch off, can't say no. There's got to come a time one day. But no, I'm happy. I've been back in the workshop, dealing with things as they go. Try not to be too doom and gloom. I've had a couple of support things come through from people. Thanks very much. I've lived 27 years with chronic back pain. I just happened to have it in the last let's say the last 18 months, I've been dealing with chronic back pain in another location with my back. And it just flared up last week to the point where, I decided I actually need to go down to the new doctor and get some treatment. So thanks for everyone for your support. I appreciate it. But I'm no stranger to this sort of shit. I'll get grumpy every now and then, and I'll get a bit terse every now and then from it. But that's just because, when you're in pain all the time, it's a fucking pain in the ass. But a pain in the back, pain in the ass. I'm very happy. I actually got about 4.5 hours in the workshop today before I thought that was enough because I want to get in there tomorrow and do some more stuff. So on the mend, as they say, getting shit done. What have you been up to, Mert?
Look, man, I got a lot of things happening. A couple of weeks ago, I took a very large order from a vendor from a Hunter Valley Blades series. So I have 12 knives in works at the moment. So that's a lot of fucking knives. And on top of it, I've done a big batch of stainless heat treatment and later on, I'm going to tell you guys how to do series, like how to use the ATP 641 anti-scaling compound, and I'm also going to tell you guys how to retrieve a blade if your fishing line snaps and you lose the blade in the liquid nitrogen. So look, so this how to series is a bit more intricate. It's not like, oh, how you do like a convex grind. No. I'm going straight to like a source when shit hits the fan. So maybe we should start new series like when shit hits the fan. I'm going to tell you guys how to apply ATP 641 and also how to retrieve a stainless blades, and if your whatever the shit that you were putting it down with gets snapped. So I had a busy week. Yeah, man.
On that note, my Dewa, however you want to pronounce it, the one I've got, I bought off Chad. And
Yes.
come to think of it, I'm pretty sure there's a blade in the bottom of it, and it's now like it hasn't had liquid nitrogen in there for ages. I got to go and lift the lid and see if I can shake that sucker out carefully.
No. You can't because I fucking tried it. So imagine me. I empty the fucking dewar into our soup fucking pot. I'm in like a back garden. I flip the dewar upside down. I'm hopping down like a fucking sumo wrestler, like hopping down. And I'm shoving a 15 and 20 that has a magnet stuck into it with the duct tape and all that shit. Yeah, we'll get to it. There are ways, okay? There are specific techniques.
Right. Well, I'm sure tonight's going to be as educational as ever.
Yeah. How about you, Barry?
Sorry, guys, what was that?
How about you, mate? What have you been up to
What have
this
you
week?
been up to?
This week, yesterday and today was a day off for us. We've been doing a lot of workshops of late, and I had a few things to catch up with, and I had a chance to finish off a couple of mosaic blades, which I'm pretty happy with. It's been a pretty cruisy week, actually. Pretty cruisy week.
But it hasn't all been cruisy. It hasn't all been cruisy for you this year, Baz. As most of our listeners would probably be aware, and some have sort of intimated already. You had a bit of an issue earlier in the year.
I did. I've been a smoker for about 57 years, and I'm 66 now. When the COVID started, we closed down the workshops, and I was able to go into my studio there and keep forging and messing away. Had a lot of fun working on my own there, and then one morning I went in with what I thought was indigestion, and I was sitting there and I'm thinking, fuck, this doesn't feel right. So I packed up, came home, went straight to the hospital, and apparently I'd had a heart attack, and I'm now 8 weeks from having it, and I'm back doing workshops now, and things have healed up. I had a triple bypass, and it was pretty scary. I've got a couple of beautiful scars to rave about, but
Street cred.
yeah, that's the one.
Cheek stick scars, man. Cheek stick scars.
But yeah, it's been a journey, and I'm back now, and we're back doing workshops, and life goes on. Apparently, I've got 15 or 20 years in me, so a lot more knives to make.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff.
Good on you, mate.
I'll say cheers to that, mate.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Cheers, man. Good to see that you kicked it. Shit, that was close, huh?
Someone asked, how's the new forge? And I'll just cover that real quick, because a lot of the community put their hands in their pockets and threw in a few bob. and they put together to get Barry a much-needed new forge while he was off. Unfortunately, the guy tasked to make it slipped with the angle grinder and cut through a tendon on his thumb, and it got held up a little bit. So the new forge is being delivered to us tomorrow, and it'll be down at the Baz's next week. But, shit happens. But anyway, it's all done, and we'll get that solved.
Does that mean there's another contender for the 1.5 thumbs up club?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it was pretty special. Had to have an operation, have it all put back together again. So,
hold my beer with the 4
a lot of us have been there.
So, anyway, you're back, Baz. But you've been in the knife making scene in Australia for a lot of years, not just the 7 years you've been at Seppeltsfield. Do you want to give people a bit of a background? Like, where are you from originally?
Originally, I was born in New Zealand. Came over here when I was about 21. Been in South Australia all that time. How I got into start playing around with knives was about 1995. I used to collect shotguns, and I went to a gun show, and there was a guy there that had some guns on the table, and at the end of his table we had half a dozen knives. And I looked at them, I thought, gee, they look better than the factory knife. I said, where'd you get those? And he said, I made those. And I said, oh, bullshit, who makes knives? That was a Saturday. On the Sunday, I had to go out making my own knife, but I had absolutely no idea, no tools. And that guy was a guy called John Creedy from Crusader Blades. And
what year was this?
Just about 95.
Right.
So I said to him, look, do you want to teach me? And he said yes, and he lived quite a distance from where I was. So he put me on to a guy called Steve Dawson. And I bugged this guy every weekend for a year or two, and we became friends and stuff like that. And I've just progressed on and on, and I remember that the weekend after that gun show that I first went to, I was working for a council at that stage, doing road construction, and I remember going into the lunchroom, and I said to the guys, there was about 15 guys there, I said, I'm going to be a full-time knife maker one day. Well, you can imagine what they call me, and wanker and costly. And I sort of look back, because some of those guys are still on the council, and with my partner and I, Amanda, we're pretty proud of where we've come. It's been a pretty hard road. We used to do a lot of the markets around Adelaide. We ended up doing the Stirling market quite a lot, which was a benchmark of markets. And then in between then, I was painting houses, driving limos on the weekend. I'd go home about 6 at night from painting. We'd have tea, go out in the shed, make knives till midnight, just to get knives ready for the markets. And then just one day, about 8 years ago, a lady came along with a clipboard, and she said, oh, I'd like to start, if you'd like to go any further. And I said, oh, yeah, no worries. And then it turned out that she was like a scout, I suppose, for what they call a jam factory over here, which is a artist's hub. It's been around 40 years or more. And anyway, we took the chance, and we've been out there 7.5 years now, and we've been doing workshops for about 6 of those years. I only went out there to have peace and quiet, and it's just gone bunter now. Like last year we did 240 workshops, I think.
Wow.
The year before that was about 220.
That's madness.
It's ridiculous. But
Yeah.
it shows me and others that the interest now is just ballistic. It's just so many people want to learn, and with the workshops, we get mothers and daughters, fathers and sons, priests, police, high court judges, brain surgeons, plumbers. And these are just people who want to come and do something with their hands again. And, knife making in Australia is pretty healthy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and we love what we do, and I don't see myself stopping. So see what happens.
No, good on you, Baz.
Thanks,
It's pretty sad that you got Anthony Kittle into it, though, isn't it?
It is.
Oh,
Yeah,
if we could go back in time, I reckon that's one thing we'd change. People are like, would you go back and kill Hitler? Would you go back and stop the JFK shooting? Nah, mate, I'll just go back and tell Anthony Kittle turn right instead of left.
Yeah.
Good evening, Anthony. Good to see you.
Anthony's on. G'day, mate.
He's on. Look at that. How are you, brother? Hey, Baz, whereabouts are you from in New Zealand?
I was born in a place called Tokoroa, which is just south of Auckland. Spent a bit of time on Waiheke Island and travelling around New Zealand, jumping on and off trains and shit like that when I was younger.
I was about that age when I was hitchhiking around New Zealand. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good times.
Go back every now and again, see my daughters, but not as often as I'd like.
Yeah,
What drew you to go to South Australia first?
Well, it's just a little country town, just like New Zealand.
Well, it kind of is, actually.
The reason I decided to come to Australia is that I was, it's the old story of the wrong crowd and shit like that. But it was I distinctly remember it was a Wednesday and I was working in a lighting shop. I was in the lunchroom and I was reading about King's Cross. That was on Wednesday. And Wednesday I was reading about King's Cross and I thought, I wouldn't mind going there. Thursday was payday. Friday lunchtime I was in Sydney. And walking up and down the
Saturday you're in King's Cross and broke.
Something like that. Adelaide,
but happy.
I walked up and down the cross, went to a couple of pubs, had a beer, said to some guy, "Where's a good place to go in Australia?" And he said, "Oh, Adelaide's a nice place." So I jumped on a Greyhound bus the next day, and here I am. No regrets.
Yeah, good on you.
Yeah, no regrets.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Good times, mate.
I like Adelaide. I've got family over in Adelaide, and I've spent a lot of my youth, big Christmas holidays and stuff, hanging out with the various aunts and uncles and grandma and stuff over there. So I've got a soft spot for Adelaide. I like the place.
It's a quaint place.
Yeah. Right, no, that's good, mate. Wow, like I said, that's nice sort of jet setting across and starting up. And like I said, things are going well now. You got your health back in shape, hopefully.
Yes. Yep.
You got to just keep control of these make sure you don't overdo it for the first part anyway. I'm sure I'm not telling you anything your doctors haven't.
No, that's exactly right. And, it's you have a bit of a scare like that and it sets you back and gives you time to think and ponder things. And, we're doing that at the moment and we'll keep our workshops going for now.
It's good that you got the business. It's good that you got the business coming in, actually.
Yes, yeah, and as I was saying to Corin before, we've booked out to May or June now. It's just ridiculous, and it comes back to saying that knife making as an interest is just so healthy, Australia-wide.
Yeah.
For
sure.
Globally.
Well, I'm in the same boat. I've had to cancel some courses because of the coronavirus thing, and I run the workshops from home. So, with my family's interest at heart, I've had to postpone a few courses. But there's no lack of interest. Like I'm taking bookings. I'm in like January already now, and I purposely tried to slow down a little bit. And with this bloody back business going on, I'm being honest with people. I'm just saying, look, I've got a dodgy back, which I'm getting checked out later in the month. I kind of know what's wrong with it, but I want to see what I've got to get to fix it. So, worst case, book in now, and I'll be pretty honest with you if it comes around to it and I can't do it. But the last week's been good. I'm on. Someone asked me before, I can't remember who it was, what's with the water? When you guys were all tasting, I was drinking my water. I've taken some new medication that's supposed to dull nerve pain, which is what I have. But I'll tell you what, it doesn't work well with alcohol. I just need to go to sleep once I take it. So, especially with alcohol, like I found the first few nights, I was like, I'll have a glass of red. It doesn't matter. And I had the glass of red and popped me a little pill. And then about 20 minutes later, I'm like, zombie to the bedroom. So I'm taking advice now from the label that says avoid alcohol. It's not good. So that should be for about 2 weeks, then I'll be back onto it.
Fair enough. So where you're from in New Zealand, it's like a rural area, or were you on a farm, or like what was it like? How did your childhood involve knives? That's what I'm cutting to, Barry.
I had a pretty interesting upbringing, I guess. I didn't really know my parents, so I was made a ward of the state, and one thing led to another. I had my first tattoo at 8, and things progressed from there. Because I was unruly, so to speak, I spent a lot of time in boys' homes and foster homes, and so I don't actually have any set childhood stories that I can tell. Obviously, boys' homes and foster homes are spread out all over the place. So in the boys' home, they created a good work ethic in people. But yeah, one of the nice things about coming to Australia is that I think I was here in Adelaide for about 3 weeks, and I came across a skin specialist that was looking for a guinea pig on tattoo removal, and I had quite a few on my fingers, arms, neck, and he thought I was a perfect candidate, and I think 3 weeks later I was tattoo free.
Yeah,
and,
wow.
It was, they took the skin off my legs, swapped it for the skin on my arms, and I've got some very faint scars now. And that's about it. So, I'll always be grateful for my move to Australia.
Yeah, nice.
And I've been here, 43 years now, and love it.
No, good, man. Cool. So, do you remember your first knife?
I still got it. It's as
What you had?
ugly as fuck. It's a drop point gut hook Skinner, and for a first knife, it was pretty ambitious. It's pretty ugly. I'm not going to lie.
That's all right. It's got a gut hook. It goes without saying.
Yeah. No, this is really ugly. Anyway, I have it in my workshop, and I show the workshop students that come in, and I think that makes them feel good. Once they see that, they know that they're doing all right. And
it's a funny thing though when you teach, isn't it? And you've had all those years to progress your skills, then you start teaching people, and what they're making is where you were at, like 5 years in after a lot of mistakes. They're making that first up, going away, and then they send you back going, "Oh, I made another knife after the class, Baz or Kev."
Yeah.
And you look at what they're making, you're like,
"Yep,
bugger me!"
Absolutely.
Like, holy shit.
And there's so many talented, younger, talented people out there now coming through, making outstanding stuff.
Yeah. That's
Well,
right.
but
Unbelievable.
besides the talent, all the information is out there now. So it's not just a talent. I'm sure we were all talented when we started, but now when you want to start making, all the information is out there, from heat treating to grinding, for what materials to buy. And Corin was telling like how he was doing trial and error with the steels and what was available versus now what's available. It's a totally different game. Someone who's starting right now with the 1 year experience is probably doing better than a guy who started 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. There was a couple of questions that came in from the listeners there. One was from Mar Hood. Mar's a very well recognised glass artist in the glass industry. And so he's saying, do they have a mix-up of artists now at the Jam Factory? They had a big glass division. Can you tell us about the different artists that are at the Jam Factory now, Kev? Fuck it. Sorry.
The last option.
I can't tell you. I'll pass it to Mert. He'll pass it to Baz.
All right,
Yeah,
Mark and everybody. The Jam Factory is it happened just after I arrived. I think it was going just before I came to Australia, and it was down in Adelaide, and it is still there. What it was, it used to be actually Jam Factory on Payneham Road, and they used to make jam and shit like that. And
I did wonder why they called it a Jam Factory, so I'll just put that out there.
Yeah. I was going to say I was a bit naive, and I thought it might have had to do with jam, like the edible jam.
I'll get to that. So what happened is a group of artists back then decided to buy the building. So they bought the building and they kept the name Jam Factory. And it's actually quite a famous and well-known institution. So anyway, what they've done now is I'm part of the building I'm in was built in 1845 or something, which is part of the Seppelsfield Winery. The Jam Factory leased the building. I pay rent to them for my space. So what we have there, we have a glass artist, we have a milliner who makes hats, we have leather workers that make bags, shoes, belts, you name it. We have jewelers that make recycled jewellery, and we have two potters, ladies that do pottery. And then just down on one layer from that, we have a gallery, and we can all have our what we make either in the gallery, or the people actually come through the gallery up into our studios, and they can see me making knives. They can see the students making knives, or they can go and see the lady making hats, or the potters making pottery. And you know, I guess the good thing for us is that where I'm situated, I face where the public come in, so everybody has to come past my door to come into the winery. Excuse me. So I think we get about 240,000 people a year just into the property.
Wow.
So, you know, when they say position, it's pretty good. Corin, you've seen where we are.
Yeah, it's magnificent. Yeah, and the tour buses come through, and it's something else.
So the numbers are growing, and I think with all this COVID stuff at the moment, that will grow a bit more. People will want to hang around the States a bit more. So yeah, you know, just got to be nice to everybody. That's it.
Nah, cool. We've got a comment there from Doug Lass. He says he visited the Jam Factory on a Barossa Valley holiday in 2013. Met you 4 years before he started making knives with Forged Through, which are veterans working together to make knives. We walked out of Baz's shop, and I was saying it was a pity I couldn't do one of his courses. And then we've got another comment from Julianne, who is Doug Lass's lovely wife, who says they watched Baz at Seppelsfield, watched for ages, and Doug said, I want to learn to do that one day. And of course, Doug's gone on to do that. So, there's quite a lot of people out there. It's not just Anthony Kittle. G'day, Anthony. There's a whole bunch of people out there that you've brought into the fold of knife making. So, yeah, big kudos there.
Yeah, thank you, guys. Thank you. As I said, it's a healthy environment, and for one of the enjoyments for me is the people that you meet. And as I said, mothers and daughters, father and son. I've got colonels in the army that are now making knives as a hobby. A Queen's Counsel who's making knives as a hobby. So many people, and I've met some wonderful people that have gone on to become pretty good knife makers, like Ali Bastian, Ryan Dowdle, and I've met some of the guys that I met when I first started that I still ask questions of, like Peter Ball. People are so free with their knowledge, and are very, very encouraging to people that, for people in our situation, it's quite easy to go, go if I can get a book or something like that. Where for me, I'd rather take the time and talk to somebody or show them how to do something, even if it does create a monster like Anthony Kittle.
Yeah. I just try not to answer the phone when Anthony rings, but no. If I answer the phone with him, it's like an hour's conversation sometimes about knife making, most of the time we just blab shit together, which is just as good.
Did you see on Facebook Anthony Kittle joined Team Die Filer this month?
Oh, and so did Jamie.
So did Sausage Jamie. Man. Yeah. Team Die Filer.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's a good team to be a part of.
It's like hepatitis, it keeps growing.
They just make fun of me and mock me, Barry, because they fear my beauty.
Oh. No, because you keep hoarding fucking tools. You keep hoarding tools, Corin.
What do I do?
You hoard
hoarding tools.
Exactly.
Sorry, I'm just busy at the minute. Just give me a minute.
Oh God!
Oh, fucking wankers!
Huh? Hey, what's that say? Yeah, fuck you.
Can't read.
Yeah, what do we got?
I'm a knife maker. I can't read.
All right. So where were we? This is a serious interview.
I think someone was just about to miss out on having a drink.
Me?
No, when you didn't say barrel knife.
Oh, too late.
Yeah.
You did.
Yeah.
All right. Fair enough. Kev, ask a question. Make yourself useful.
Oh, okay. Well, who you're talking about, Baz, the variety of people that you've been able to meet through the teaching side of knife making, and you much like me, would have thought, many years ago, I'll never meet and speak and become friends with, a doctor or a lawyer or all these other people. Who's the probably a hard question to answer, maybe, but who's the sort of person that you've met that's, you've just connected with the best out of everyone, maybe? Is there anyone that stands out in your mind that had the most profound impact on you after your teaching engagement? I'm hitting you with a tough one, mate.
Yeah, you are. But look, I remember I used to do what they call the medieval fair.
Yep.
People used to dress up as knights, and I had a stall there one time, and this guy came over. He's a freaking monster. He was. I remember watching him out of the corner of my eye. He was looking at me all the time. And anyway, the people that I talked to, they all pissed off, and this guy came over, and he said, "I'd be interested in learning to make knives. Do you do that?" And I said, "Yeah, I can do that. What's your name?" He said, "It's Ryan Dowdle." And Ryan and I have been friends now, good friends. I don't know, 8, 9 years. He's battled hard, he's worked hard, and he's now at the stage of doing hammer-ins, workshops, and making some great camping, hunting style knives. And it's been a bit of a pleasure to watch Ryan develop. And he's a pretty decent type bloke too. There's numerous people out there.
Can I just jump on the bandwagon with Ryan and just say if ever there was a guy that wears his heart on his sleeve and puts his soul into everything he does, that's Ryan. If you need a hand, he's not only the first one to put up his hand, but his hand's outstretched.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? The guy's phenomenal. So yeah, much respect. Totally agree.
We have a bit of a chat every now and then because my son played junior rugby and rep rugby here in the ACT, and rugby union on the eastern side of the country is pretty well known, and in South Australia it's not a big thing. So when you're into rugby there, you're in a small group of people. And Ryan and I talk quite a lot about the rugby side of stuff because he was coaching his son's rugby team, and his son's, from all accounts, unfortunately with this bloody COVID thing, it's put a stop on a lot of young talented sports people, but his son's doing really well in the rugby scene over there, so might be a little force to watch out for in the future. So Ryan and I talk about, although we do talk about knife making stuff and his hammer-ins and whatever, we generally fall back onto the rugby conversations and the fact that all his spare time goes into, prior to the lockdowns and everything, getting his son to play all these rep games around the country and whatnot. So yeah, real nice bloke.
Lovely guy. And there's a lot of people that probably too many to just think about at the minute.
Yeah.
That are out there actually making knives now and making some fantastic stuff. Some of the guys I'm pretty in awe of, because they've been doing it for a very short time, and the workmanship is just outstanding.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. Mert?
Hey, I want to ask you a question about a certain fella that came to your shop. So I look at your page, I see Damascus knives. I'm like, yeah, he made another kitchen knife. There's another kitchen knife, another course he did. Yeah, that's good. But one day I look at your page, and what I see is a Marco fucking Pierre White in your shop. So for those people who don't know, Marco Pierre White is like the grandfather of the British cuisine, and at one stage he owned 3 Michelin stars. And this cranky bastard who ended up training Gordon Ramsay and made Gordon Ramsay cry in his kitchen, he says to Michelin, like, who is the biggest thing that gives the stars and all that. He tells Michelin, I know more about food than you guys can ever imagine. Take these stars, shove in your ass. So he says, take my fucking stars. You are not in a position to judge me what I know about cooking and food. Fuck you. So, and what I see is Marco Pierre White, one of the renegades in the kitchen, and right next to him is Baza, giving him the knife that he made for him, I think. Can you tell me about that?
I have to tell you that he was one of the most humble and nicest guys that I've met. He was in South Australia for Tasting Australia, I think, and he had a fairly large entourage with him. But I was lucky enough to have half an hour and have a beer and a cigarette and have a chat to him, and he was telling me about his boys in England and his house. And exactly what you just said, Mert, to him, cooking was all about giving people an experience, not making it look flash, or it had to taste like food. And that was about 2 years ago, I think he was there.
Yeah.
And it was a good day for me because he bought about 7 knives and for his friends and family and the people that come in the workshop. And in my workshop, I have like a brag wall. So I've got people on that come in. He's one of them. And people come in and go, oh, what's he up there for? And I tell him, you know, he said to me, if Australia or people want to pay him $1 million to be an arsehole on TV, he will, because he benefits financially from that, and so does his family. And you know, they have a good life. But he was just one of the kindest, most gentle. I watched him talking to people just walking past, and he didn't mind at all. He just told his entourage just to chill out. I want to have a chat, and he did. And it was a good experience. And yeah.
Well, I bet if you were working for him 20, 30 years ago, you wouldn't say that. You'll probably still think he's the crankiest guy ever.
I have heard. But for me, the experience this time was good. Yeah, very
Perfect
nice.
timing. Perfect timing, mate. Well done.
Yeah, very good. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, nice. Stan Stanley's just put up a question. Baz, for your social media, what do you have?
I have Instagram, Gardener Knives, and a website, and we have a Facebook page for all our workshop people that come in.
Yeah. So Gardener Knives is your Instagram.
Yes.
And I have to say thank you, mate, because I know we're all busy in this world, but I think nearly on every single post that I've seen of most knife makers around, there's always a few stars and a couple of thumbs up from you, mate, or a quick looks good word on there. So it's nice to see that encouragement going out to people. A lot of people just double tap on Instagram and see the love heart come up and move on from there. But it's nice to actually get that little bit of interaction from people, and it's good to see. So good on you for that.
Thank you.
And your
and all your support over the years, like the messages that come through before the knife shows, wishing people well and all the rest of it. You know, every one of them. Sometimes we're in such a rush we mightn't reply, but everyone means something. So don't think they ever go under the radar. That's for sure. Yeah, it's appreciated.
There was a fella in a Perth show, and he was a fellow knife maker, and you apparently told him that, saying that the check on my table. So I appreciate that.
I've always been a good inspirer. It's inspiring stuff.
So tell us a bit about your style, mate. You know, we've talked about kitchen knives. Is that what you do mainly these days, or and what sort? Damascus? What are you doing? Tell people that don't follow you.
Okay. I tend to make kitchen knives because when I started out, it seemed to be the popular knife to make. I've always been a fan of the old Loveless drop point. In fact, I think my second knife was a Loveless drop point, and which I sent to Keith Spencer in Perth many years ago. And I think he sent me a message back saying, fucking start again. Anyway,
nice.
I do like to make hunting knives, small Scandi style hunting knives with a full grind. I do like to make kitchen knives. I'm starting to do a lot more mosaic Damascus now. I've always been inspired by that, and I don't take this the wrong way, but I've not always been a team player. So I like to work on my own and do my own thing. And many years ago, I went and spent some time with Steve Felicetti in Queensland. And I was blown away by the stuff he was making back then. And this is I don't know, 15 years ago. And I never had the equipment or the know-how to do it. Just that over the years, I've nibbled away at things. I've researched, spent a fair bit of time with Ali Bastian. We probably chat a couple times a week, every week. There's young guys coming through now, as I said earlier, that are making wonderful stuff, and they're inspiring, you know. So, you know, I do love to make Damascus steel. I've got a couple of Bowies on the go at the moment, which is something new for me. I just need to get the Bowies out of my system, and that's it. And then I get back to, you know.
Sorry, Baz, I've got to cut in, mate. You've pronounced that. They're not Bowie knives. They're booby knives. Isn't that right, Mert?
Boobies.
That's what our handsome South African friend calls it.
Well,
Henning,
we've had Henning infiltrate our show a few times.
Yeah.
And
I made Bobby knife.
Between Mert, Henning, and myself, we end up with 3 different ways of saying Bowie, Bowie, booby. So,
I just need to get them out of my system. That's it.
well, in that, don't look at Ali Bastian for freaking inspiration there, mate, or you'll never get him out of your system.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a prick like that. So.
He is.
And I actually made a blade about 18 months ago, and it's sitting in my workshop. I've just been waiting for that right handle, and I've been chatting to a guy, Spencer Applin, and he sent me over a piece of walrus tusk, and it is just a perfect piece for this Bowie, and Booby. So I'm looking forward to finally putting this together, and hopefully you'll see it soon.
Yeah, I've got to say, I'm the opposite of you, mate. I've had this piece of walrus tusk sitting around here for about the last 4 years. I've got to get around to making the right steel to put on the bloody handle material.
I've got a whole box of shit that I've never got good enough to use.
Well, you're only using one knife a bloody year, mate.
Yeah. I know, it's sad, isn't it?
You made the knife. Just move on. Carry on. You made the knife for a year. Just move on, man.
I didn't think you were here to talk about knives. Aren't you here to talk about sponsor posts or some shit?
Yeah, we've got a word from our sponsor. I just want to know if you can hear this.
No.
Very sad that you can't hear that, because that just fucks the whole thing. Let me figure that out. Won't be a second.
How about you insert it? How about you insert it with the edit?
While you're screwing with that, apparently, Baz, I've got word from through the grapevine. This is the nice thing about being distracted on the telephone when you're talking. Let Barry know his forge is finished. Will be dropped off to be shipped tomorrow.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, we've already spoken about that, latecomer.
Yeah.
Well,
thank you, mate.
Yeah,
thank you,
guys. You were talking about Ali Bastian. What I found is never look at Ali Bastian's post once you're done with your work. Like every morning, look at his post. Okay, if you wake up, like look at his post, I'm like, fuck, this is good. I need to be better. But if you finish your work, like you make a stock removal knife with a nice satin finish, you feel good. Then you look at Ali Bastian knife. Yeah, here's the titanium Damascus I made. Then you feel like, let me just throw my fucking shit knife in the bin. Yeah, just always look at Ali Bastian's knife in the morning.
I remember the first show that Ali did. I think it must have been about 19 years ago or something like that. And his work back then was pretty good for, I think he had a jewelry background. He was actually a crayfisherman for a while. But his work back then was sensational. And now it's just, it's off the chart. And yeah, you're right, Mert. Every time I look at his folders on Instagram now, I just look at my stuff and scratch my head and can only hope, you know.
Yep.
Yeah, well,
Talented guy.
yeah, he's a good fella too. He's just a good bloke in general. Corin, Andrew was saying, play it on your phone into your microphone.
Oh, fuck. Why don't I have that kind of brain shit going on?
Because this is the shittiest podcast in Australia, if
Fucking
not the
hell.
world.
With the best fucking content. How about that?
Yeah, motherfucker. Yeah. All right. You guys keep. Yeah. Well, we've got a guest sitting in the background. He'll have to wait until I can figure out how to play a song into my microphone and how to get it from the computer onto the phone.
He's in the queue.
Hey,
now,
right.
Baz.
He doesn't mind. He's having a glass of milk. Keep going, Baz.
We got the question that all bearded people are wondering: how many times have you lost a decent length of that that beard of yours, mate?
Yeah, once a week. Once a week.
Once a week.
Yeah, once a week. It's I'm getting to the stage now. It's a day-to-day proposition. It'll probably just go any day now.
No, you got to keep it. The iconic, beard,
hang on to it. In December, you can play Santa with that beard.
Yeah. Hey, in December in Adelaide, when it's 45 degrees, I don't think anyone wants to dress up to Santa.
Yeah, that can be tricky.
Yeah. So we'll just have. Oh, I was just having to put another peek at your Gardener Knives Instagram, mate, and it's got a couple of your Scandi style hunting knives and stuff on there, and some of your mosaic Damascus that you've been working on. So anyone that wants to get on and have a look at Baz's work, if you're not already on there, it's Gardener Knives, one word. So GARDNER Knives, all one word. Jump on board. And there's a particular one, mate. I don't know if it's going to come up. No, my phone, I'm pretty shit with that direction. No, it's your little sort of that Scandinavian style with the burl handle, little mosaic bar sort of stuff. Very nice.
Oh, yep. Thank you, mate. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
So
I previously liked it. Oh, there you go. Then you've got oh, here we go.
You ready?
Here we go.
Is this the intro to our
knife maker?
There's a lot to learn. It's Timmy. He's a handful of trouble at every turn. Timmy lives with
Chemical artisan supplies.
trying to be cool. He's number one. He joins all his friends.
Knifemaking Downunder Podcast.
And he's always having such a lot of fun. Timmy. It's Timmy.
Timmy?
Wow.
This is our new segment called Got Milk with Timmy.
So, we were talking about, we're just going to have a quick word from our sponsor, Chemical Artisan Supplies, and our new audio editor, who was delegated to task this week because I'm 3 episodes behind. Timmy!
Oh, Timmy!
G'day, everybody. Did you know we stock Kydex? Oh, wowie. Did you know, though? Did you know that we also stock Galso bolts? But it gets better. It gets better. It gets better, guys. It gets better.
What is a Galso bolt?
Timmy's got some colour in his milk again.
Oh, I don't know what he's got in his milk.
Do you guys have the right color Kydex?
Yeah, we've got grey. Yeah, we've got every colour.
Grey.
We want grey. Yep. Actually, we've run out of grey. We've got a pallet of grey coming down from Queensland where we hit it when we bought too much. Never mind. Keep going, Timmy. Don't let us put you off, Timmy.
Oh, he muted himself.
Yeah, he's fucked.
Yeah,
I'll unmute him. I did it.
You muted me. Okay. It gets better, though. It gets better. We had 100 pack of cut-off discs we've now split them down into 25 packs, so you can get a good old cut off dip. Yes, we do. New to Game & Co. Art of the Flies, we now stock die filers. Did you know, Corin?
Die filers or die filer files?
You're not selling mine.
Nah, yours is supposed to go. We have leather scissors, and I did a really good post on these today. You should
Did it have pants on?
check that out.
Did it have pants on?
It had pants on.
Everyone
had pants on.
We didn't realize that someone in one of our memes didn't have pants on. We got that fixed up.
Yeah, I've got to go. Let's go back to that for 2 seconds. How pathetic are people? That was a funny meme, and what do people pick out of a funny meme? The fact that the cartoon mum apparently, allegedly didn't have pants on.
Well, 2 minutes in Microsoft Paint, and Timmy had painted some.
And what a job!
We're all good again.
What a job he did too. Blue's my favourite colour for MILF.
I'm an artiste. I'm a true artiste. Oh dear. What else do we have?
What do you have? Yeah, come on.
Oh, let's go. Stabilized timber, leather stands,
52-100.
buffing wheels and compounds. 52-100 bearing.
Timmy, talk about the integral material 52-100, which I placed a ton of order today.
Good.
Well, Matt, we've got a bunch of new bearings, and they're not new, but they are 52-100, and they're good steel.
We have them spec-road, we got certs.
Yeah.
If you want
They're
the stats,
very, very close.
What else do we have? We have knife flanks, SUP 9, RTZ wash coat, mild steel.
Yeah, whatever. Okay, that's enough of fucking advertising. That's a word from our sponsor. Thank you, Timmy Time. Enjoy your meal.
Thank you, everyone.
Love you all.
And we love you too, Timmy, but not in a Chris, what's his name, Craig kind of way. Just in a normal kind of way.
This song is for you, Timmy.
There are words from our sponsor. How professional was that? All right, moving right along.
As Cole's put on there, 52-100 Asterix bearings.
Yeah, that's the ones.
The chemical composition is very, very, very close. Actually, probably even better.
No, actually, it falls in this. It falls in the specs. So when you look at it, the carbon is slightly low, but it still falls in the specs of the 52-100.
Yeah, 0.005 lower or something like that. So still 0.9% carbon.
I got after so I made the integral out of them, and after quenching and 2 hours of tempering, I still got 65.5 Rockwell.
Oh, so you were in on this before everyone else?
Yeah, motherfucker.
Hey, can you get a hum-on out of it or what?
Well, that's top secret, my friend.
Yeah. somewhere in space, that episode where we recorded the way to get 52-100 hum-ons is out there, and it's going to come out one day, Mert, when you least expect it.
It's like Black Jack singing tribute.
It's not the best song, but
it's not the greatest song. That was the
song.
greatest podcast in the world, but it's gone. So we're just like giving it a tribute now.
Well, we're the fucking greatest podcast. So in terms of knife making, so
all right. So let's talk some shit that's actually worth talking about.
Get on with it then.
Baz's fucking Mosaic Damascus. Have you checked it out? No?
Yeah. I would have thought you were leading into something there.
No. I was asking you a question. That's why it sort of blended with that inflection at the end. Like, have you checked it out? Was like
yes.
A question. Yes.
I have checked it out. And I like when Baz does. There's one in particular I like Baz really, really liked was, God, you haven't given it a name, but it was bloody
good.
Oh, now I've lost it. Yeah.
I'll find it and put it on the screen.
That one.
Yeah, that was
I'll
fun.
get it up on the screen.
That one was absolutely. Get Corin to put it up on the screen. There's 3 pieces and made a chef knife out of it with a white handle. That one was awesome, man.
All the people that aren't watching on Knifemaking Down Under on Facebook, you should join up there and watch every Thursday night. You'll be able to see the stuff we're talking about when we're talking about stuff, gardening, knives, and on. I'm just doing my best here to spell that wrong. Bear with me. There's the ugly mug right there. Oh, sorry, that came out
'Cause
loud.
I like the fact that I find a lot of the mosaic stuff these days, and this is just my personal opinion, and Anthony Kittle will have a good laugh about this. It almost becomes too complex and too intricate and like you just get lost in it. Whereas keep scrolling down, Corin, that one right there in the middle there, and then if you go back out and go to the knife to the left of that, that's just really bold pattern there. That just really struck that side of me. I really like that one.
Magnificent. Yeah. Just basically 2 tiles, isn't it? But it just works so well. What's that handle, Barry?
It does.
Whale. Oh, well, I won't. Yeah, we better
Just
start the podcast.
Whale jaw, that one.
Whale jaw.
Yeah.
I won't ask where you got that from because it doesn't exactly grow on trees.
I was about to say it looks like a usik. You guys know what that one is?
Very similar. Very
That's
similar.
a penis bone.
Yeah, very
That's
similar.
such a dick move, Corin. Such a dick move.
What? Dick. Oh, it's a dick move. Nice.
Oh,
I'll tell you what,
dear.
this shit has got a bit of a kick to it. I'm feeling that.
Yeah, well, you'll be feeling it tomorrow morning too, won't you?
Yeah, I've got an important call tomorrow morning.
So
Too
last week, guys,
Alcoholics Anonymous.
apparently last week I had a little bit too much of whiskey, so I woke up #hangover as fuck Friday, recovering slowly Saturday, and I really needed a rest on Sunday, and I end up like drinking maybe like a 5 or 6 total drinks whole week, but it's okay. I'm making up for it now.
Yeah, till tomorrow, and then you're going to have another week off the alcohol. Works out well.
Right.
That's the bottle I started last episode, so I'm still doing good.
This is the bottle I started earlier.
Is that Vindex? Is it what you wipe your blades with?
Neutralize.
Neutralize.
It's like a
Right,
bleach
happy
for the
days.
inside.
So, Barry, let's talk a bit about, we've sort of heard about where you started and your influences. We've heard a bit about sort of where you're at, at Seppelsfield and what you're making at the moment. Where do you want to be in 5 years? You still want to be doing the thing with Seppelsfield? Is that where it's at for you, or have you got some plans, or if you got anything you want to be making that you're not making at the moment, something different? Where do you want to? What sort of direction are you going to take?
5 years from now, I won't be doing workshops. It is my intention to slow down from workshops and just concentrate on doing custom orders, which we're getting a lot of. I think it's probably time to pass on to a younger guy what we're doing out there. I'm not sure. The Jam Factory's tenure, I think, finishes in about 2.5 years. So I'm giving myself, say, 2 years to work out what I want to do, particularly after this scare. Do I want to take it easy? Do I want to? Well, I do. I want to just concentrate on custom orders. Still encouraging people to do stuff, and there's quite a few people out there now, as I said, like Ryan Dowdle, that's doing workshops, and there's lots of places that we can pass people on to, whether it's anybody. And there's actually quite a few people who show interest in doing workshops as taking the workshops. Personally, it's as I said, 5 years time I won't be doing, well, probably 2 years time I won't be doing workshops. I quite like the idea of, I'll still be making knives. I've had my thoughts in the last 12 months of maybe putting together a podcast. I quite like the idea of learning to stabilise woods and just smaller things along those lines. Who knows, really?
Yeah,
But
nice.
it'll-
We're
Yeah,
going
no,
to see
it sounds like you've got a bit of a plan.
when
Go
when
for
you
it,
go
Kev.
to doing your own thing. Are we likely to see a Baz flipper with Ali Bastian's influence?
No.
They can keep those fiddly things.
A Bastian flipper.
I've
Oh,
made 3 folding knives in my life. And I was shown how to make them by Steve Dawson many years ago. I believe that my stepsister has one. Other than that, I don't know where they went. But I was only looking the other day at some old pictures, and really I wouldn't want to show anybody those folders now, particularly when there's folders like Ali out there and a few of these other things. And to be honest, I don't have the patience to do folding knives.
yeah.
Give me something solid to work with, fine. Give me finicky stuff, and it's just all over the place.
Yeah, I totally get that. I know how that feels.
The attention span's not there. But if I can make noise and flames and sparks, I'm happy.
Yeah, good day. Happy days. Happy days.
Yeah.
Sounds like the day after a good curry.
Oh, mate. So do you now, like when you're doing your custom work, do you make knives to order, or are you just making what you want?
Very seldom do I get to make what I want. We've got about, I don't know, 40 or 50 current custom orders to do. A lot
So
of
what are you
people,
doing next week?
exactly.
Yeah.
When you see some of my knives on Instagram there, they could take a month to make, because I might get half a day and I can make up something, put a billet together, then another half a day somewhere else in a week's time where I can manipulate it to where I want it. In between though, we've got to do our custom orders, which I enjoy doing the most. And we're getting some pretty high-end places now that are starting to want sets of knives, whether they're high-end steak knives in Damascus or, which has been fun to do. So, as I said, when you see something of mine on there, it takes a little bit of time. Depending where the people are in the workshop, I can maybe spend a little bit of time either gluing the handle up or doing the grind while they're on one of the other grinders. And we put in a fair effort in our day. We start at 6, and we go through that day. And before our workshop started at 8:30, so I'll give myself a couple of hours in the morning to grind, harden, put something together, carry on with the next order or something like that. So I can still sneak in something for us every now and again. And where I am in the jam factory, I've got a display sort of cabinet bench. People can, I've probably got a dozen knives in there that not only showcases what I do, but it showcases what people that do a workshop can come in and do. So I've got to keep that full, or have enough stock in there for people to go, oh wow, you make knives. How can we do it? So it's a bit of a juggling game, sometimes, but love it.
Yeah, for sure, mate. Go for it, Kev.
I just had a question, then I just lost it. Mert, over to you.
Quite a few, Corey.
I got one.
How many Serbian chef knife requests have you gotten? That's sad. That's just sad.
Yeah, they seem to be popular.
What are your pet peeves? There you go. That's one of the regular questions we ask. What are your pet peeves in knife making? What in knife making that you see people do and you think, fuck, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, it's a tricky one, huh?
Serbian chef knives?
Yeah, you don't do it.
I mean, I'll lower the bar pretty freaking low, but there's a limit.
Yeah. That's a tricky question. It pisses me off sometimes to see how good some people are. That's, we've got some young guys in Australia at the moment that are just doing outstanding stuff. And they'll only get better. And, in a couple of years' time, it'll be even better come through. Even just on a world scale, the quality of work that's out there now. And when I did start way back, even though when I first went to the shows here in Adelaide at the Aqaba, there was some fantastic work around then, like Peter Del Rosso back then was doing amazing stuff, and that he's doing better stuff now. There was people like Maury McCarthy and I thought I used to stand in awe of these guys and think, look at all this stuff. How can they do that? And the quality of workmanship now, it's mind blowing. It's just what I do when I make a knife. I have to take a fair bit of time to do to get it right.
I know that well. Don't worry. I know that well.
Sometimes you see people do something and you go, how the fuck do you do that so well? And there's people, even who was it? Scott Broad.
Oh yeah.
His stuff is just out there.
Yeah. It's tight, isn't it? And I like Scott. I like Scott on a number of levels. He's a train driver, so that resonates with me too. I like that a lot.
And you just look at his stuff and you go, how the hell do you do that?
It's so fucking clean though, isn't it?
Hours and hours sanding, and it doesn't look anything like that. And I had John Flaherty called in a couple of times, and he didn't want to show me his work to begin with. Anyway, he got it out in the end and showed it to me. I'm thinking, you've only made a couple of knives and look at the finish on these things now. And I think he just won an award in Western Australia for Best Small Hunter.
He could have done.
Sensation. And you look at, I look at in awe of these guys. Even though I've been hanging around for a while, I still get encouragement and inspiration from watching these people. And while I keep feeling like that, I'll keep doing what I'm doing.
Yeah, no, awesome. I couldn't agree more with the new makers either, because we deal with new makers all the time, and it's some of them are just phenomenal. Like, oh, look at the first knife I made, and you look at it and you think, oh, you fucking prick. But anyway, they're good. There's no question about it.
Absolutely.
I could be jealous.
But we're thinking the difference, Corin, is we're not thinking, oh, you fucking prick in a way where we're putting animosity. We're like, you fucking prick. How awesome is that?
Well, yeah, you might be. No, I'm not like that.
Okay, no, I'm lying. I'm sitting there fucking kicking shit and fucking telling the dog to fuck off because I've looked at someone's cool knife and they only made 4 knives. Fuck you.
I'm trying to find out what Matt Snape's talking about in this comment on our live feed that says great photos on the website, Baz. But why the groves on the hammer handle? And I'm thinking, like, is it an olive grove or what are we talking about there?
Oh, they're grooves.
Groove.
Yeah,
And you're
sorry.
on his website.
so it doesn't slide.
It doesn't slide out of your hand.
Yep, slip or slide. Yeah.
No, fair enough. Fair enough. To each their own. I get hot spots pretty easy because I've got office hands.
Yep.
Right? They're nice and soft. I moisturise them twice a day. So
That's what happens when you make a one fucking knife a year, Corin.
Yeah, with a fucking 2.5-inch long blade.
Here we go. Just
Oh.
There we go. Now, put that to bed. I'm going to find this hammer handle. It's on your website, they tell me. Anyway, keep going.
What do you find difficult in sourcing with regards to your materials and stuff?
Me?
Yes. Do you have any problems, or are you just such a well-oiled machine now that it's just never an issue?
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
Yeah.
My supplier of steel, Gamico, hasn't worked out. Look, we've had no problems. We've always been looked after.
Well, yeah, there are times. But anyway, we do our best. That's got to count for something. Who's this old codger on your website with the poppy on his lapel? He looks familiar, strangely familiar.
Yeah.
The bird on his arm.
Get rid of Matt Snape's comment for a moment, Corin. Get rid of
Yeah, I'll try. Just give me a minute. There you go. Look at that.
And scroll the photo up a little bit.
Up a little bit. All right, I can do
That's the guy who killed Princess Diana.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I look like on the previous photo was going for a little bit of a grope.
The scariest person in that room was the guy behind my head.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah, who is he?
MI6 or something, yeah.
Security man. He was no further than what he is there from them at all times. And there were 4 other guys spread out around the room.
Yeah. Yeah. I noticed you didn't get his face on the photo.
I said to you, don't be like Paul Keating. Don't touch Prince Charles's bum.
Yeah.
There you go. Scott Broad merchandise with a guy at the pub in Whyalla tonight.
That's why knife making merchandise, t-shirts, Knife Making Downunder Podcast shirts available from Gamico. That's why knife making merchandise should be on everyone, because then we know who our friends are. We know our community. Knife making shirts all the time, every time, no excuses.
Yes. And Scott Broad's one is Flinders Rangers Knives too, if anyone's looking.
Yeah, and he's fucking great guy, top guy, and he's a good train driver too, apparently. He can come and drive my train set anytime. It's just up the back here, but I don't think he wants to.
I bet you bloody would if you asked him.
My son loved them. My son want to play with them all the time.
Yeah. My son, I bet you left him at home.
Yeah. Happy days.
Speaking of son, my 4-legged son, my fucking puppy. So my dog came into the shed. He's a 10 and a half months old puppy. He came into my shed and he never comes into my shed. And I saw him bolt out of my shed. I'm like, well, I guess he doesn't like the grinder. He pissed off, whatever. I'm going back to the house during the lunchtime, and this motherfucker realized he apparently stole a pair of ram horn scales an asshole was chewing on them. By the time I got to it, there was like a 1.5 or 2 inches left of their ram horn scales. The nice one, the thick ones, Corin, not the cheapest one. The asshole ate the whole fucking scale set of the ram horn scales.
I'll have to give him a commission when I see him. Good on him. I'll sell another set.
Yeah, that outdid the one where I came out to take some photos at the end of a course, and I've got a bench that I normally go and place the knives on. And when I went up, one of the guys from the course looks down. He's like, "Oh," and he picks up this nice piece of antler with about fucking a third of the end of it chewed off, and I'm like, "Oh, you fucker!"
Nothing will ever beat you using mammoth ivory to cook a pizza, though. That one does win.
Yes, I staged this photo, and I upset a whole lot of people because I staged this photo in my pizza oven, and I had all these real thin offcuts of shit that you can't use. I'm a timber hoarder, and I don't throw shit away unnecessarily. But I staged it so it looked like this big blocks of burl and shit in there, and I lit it up, just out of my scrap box, and having a laugh and pissing people off. And then the next day when I went in and I'm getting rid of the ashes out of it, I put this pan in, and I'm like, "What the hell's that?" And I put it out, and there's this probably, I don't know, $50 chunk of mammoth ivory that had been in the bottom of my pan, and I threw it into the fire without realizing.
Nice.
Oh, yeah. A 15,000-year-old scent of mammoth ivory in my pizza. It went down real well.
So Baz, do you ever use stainless steels?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. Mert wants to tell us a little story about ATP 641.
Yes, I
Tonight?
do. I do.
Yeah.
Yes.
We'll let Mert have a bit of the microphone for a second while Kev and I remember the time we used ATP 641.
Okay, so ATP 641, and I've been doing a stainless for a while, and I always use the tool, the tool wrap, the steel tool wrap. It's a very thin steel tool wrap that you wrap around the stainless blade, and you gotta fold it a few times, make sure the fold is nice, and make sure your blade doesn't pierce through the tool wrap, and you gotta pierce the side. Anyway, it's a mess, and I only cut myself whenever I fucking trying to fold that stainless tool wrap. So when people say, "Oh, what's the sharpest steel that can get?" my answer is always the fucking stainless tool wrap. That's the sharpest shit in your shed. Yeah, stainless foil. That's the sharpest shit in your shed. Anyway, I used it for a while, and it was time to buy a new roll, and it was the time of the Blade Symposium. I went to Gameco Bus, the thing that they brought, and I was talking to Cole Barrett. Cole said, "Mate, don't buy that tool wrap, stainless foil. Just buy the ATP 641. I'm like, "Yeah, I heard about it. I heard people using that that mixture, which is like a compound that you mix it up, you apply it to your blade, and because it covers the whole of your stainless blade, when it goes into your kiln, it stops the decarb, and you don't have to worry about the foil. You don't have to worry about the cutting the end of the foil and all that bullshit." And stuff. He said, "But when you use this shit, you have to really stir it, because when you open the lid of the jar of the can or whatever that is, there's a little liquid on top. That's not it. You have to stir the shit out of it." I'm like, "Yeah, mate, no worries." And I had a bunch of stainless blades. I didn't have to do stainless heat treatment for a real long time. But my orders piled up, and I'm looking, I'm like, "Oh shit, I need to do a stainless heat treatment." So let me just pull the stainless tool, instead of the tool wrap, let me just put the ATP 641 to use. And Corin messaged me, "Mate, stir the shit out of it." I'm like, "Okay, Corin, I got it." Like, you guys keep saying stir the shit out of it. I get it. I looked at the jar. I'm like, I'm shaking. I'm like, okay. I open it up, and I trying to stir with the little paddle stick thing. I'm like, and I trying to stir it. It went right through the liquid, but in the bottom there's a sediment, and it just got stuck in the fucking sediment. I'm like, okay, that doesn't sound good. I took out the old butter knife. I'm trying to stir it, but just like get stuck. And I realized this is not a just stir the shit out of it, mate. I put my gloves on. Okay, I put double set of gloves, and I'm thinking I need to break this thing down. And I'm thinking, let me just try to do it with my finger. And I just inserted my finger, and this thing feels like a constipated shit. It's so fucking dense and hard. And I realized only way for me to make this thing work is I said, okay, let's imagine that I swallow the 4 carat of diamond, and I managed to squeeze that shit out, and that diamond is in the sediment. So I pulled the sediment out, I left the liquid, and I'm squeezing, I'm massaging every tiny section of that sediment, making sure I break it down, and also making sure I'm not missing the diamond. I'm breaking it down, I'm mixing it through, I'm breaking it down. I got that liquid like dripping off my arms and shoulder, like my elbows, and so I broke all of that thing down. Then I start stirring. So, Corin, you need to change it, man. When you look at the instructions says, "Oh, you gotta stir the shit out." No. Instructions should say, break the old part of it like a constipated shit, and then stir the crap out of it till it has the consistency of a diarrhea.
I just use an old fork and it works great. But whatever works for you, right?
I use one of those small egg whisk things, and someone earlier was saying use the small egg beater on and put it into a drill. But if you want to massage poopy, thinking of diamonds,
whatever turns you on, buddy. Whatever works.
So I got to drop that little fellow into my ATP 6874881.
Anyway, that shit works great. After you break it down and you smear it all the way, it works great.
Hang on, we're still talking about
how this all happened, how this started was we got this great stuff in and everyone said how great it was. And Kev was at my place and I said, let's go into Gamaco and knock off a tub because I've got the keys and we'll see if it's any good. So we went on a commando mission full of commando roles, Mission Impossible music, sliding down walls, all sorts of stuff. And we stole a tub of it from work at about 10 o'clock one night, drove back to Picton, hightailed it. The cops were on our tail, but we got away. And I got back and I got Kev's blade because I didn't want to try it on my own one. And I stuck my finger in this shit and I just smeared it on his blade and stuck it in the furnace.
You gotta play with that shit. You know it now. You gotta squeeze it.
We turned the container around. We turned the container around and read the stir this product well, and we're like, we did your little test. We did the finger in the poopy thing, and we're like, oh, that'll do. Just stick that on there. And then we chucked this.
That doesn't work. That doesn't work.
We were using Damasteel as well. It wasn't just steel.
There were tears that day. There were tears.
How much decarb you had, Corey? Did you decarb the crap out of it?
I didn't have any, but Kev had heaps on his plate.
But do you know the silver lining of this poo brown ATP 641 cloud is that I got to teach Corin how to use his disc grinder.
Oh yeah, that's true too. Yeah.
Because it had so much decarb. I was like, I'll save this. Let's go over and set up the disc grinder. And Corin's like,
I've never even plugged it in.
So the two of us learned at that particular time that stir well means stir well, not just stick your finger and rub it on there.
I bought a little battery-powered whisk from IKEA, and that works pretty good, but you got to break it up with a fork first.
Nah.
True.
I'll post up
that shit works great. But I say don't bother with the second or third layer. If you got a good first layer, let it dry and it works great. Because if you start trying to do the second layer, it ends up like peeling the first layer. And I think I did 13 stainless blades in 2 days. And I still got like a shit tins of that liquid left.
Shit tins. Exactly.
No, you won't have any. It lasts for ages, particularly when you do knives like this big. It'll last forever.
It will last you like a 75 years, Corin.
Yeah. I use it on hammer faces as well. So if I'm making a hammer, I'll put it on the hammer faces.
Wow.
Wow.
What steel were you putting it on, Bert, and how thick a layer were you using?
So I done 2 different types of steels. I did a Damas steel. I had like 2 bars of Damas steel. I used one up, and the other one was a Takefu Super Gold 2. And what I've done is I took a little sponge. Once it's mixed through, I was thinking about using a brush, but I just dipped in a sponge and I just covered it so it looks like a uniform, and I flipped it and I heat up a little bit right above my kiln, or just put in for a few months. I put in my tempering oven and they dried up, and I made sure my edges and my spine was also covered, and that was it.
Nice. How hard was it to come off?
Oh, one great thing about it is compared to set night. So when I was out of my film, out of my foil, I used set night, and set night is a bitch to get it off. But this thing came off so easy compared to set night. So set night comes off very easy at the quench, comes off, but this thing stays on during the quench, and it comes a lot easier compared to set night. So that's one of the pros about
We
purpose-built
get
thing.
complaints. We get complaints about it, but the way I do it, and it's normally a problem in tight corners and tight radiuses where it'll tend to stick. What I do is I stick it on the wire wheel on my grinder, my bench grinder on the wire wheel.
What do you
and I
mean?
just
You
shoot
get
it straight
complaints? The complaints about it doesn't come off, or it comes off
Yeah,
easy? Which
yeah.
one?
True. No, it doesn't come off.
Doesn't come off.
But I use the wire wheel on the grinder and it comes straight off. That's my pro tip there. But fuck, I'm not a pro. I'm just me. Oh, by the way, anyway, Cole says the other
Thoroughly degrease the blade.
anti-compound is thoroughly degrease your blade. That's absolutely true, because if you
Yeah,
don't,
exactly. Forgot
Yeah.
to say, I wash my blade as if I was applying set night for my hamon. So my blade was completely grease-free. There was nothing on it. It was clean blade. If there's any point, like you try to apply it and you'll see the where your fucking fingerprint is, like you'll apply it and you'll see your fingerprint that it tells you like, no, you haven't cleaned this area. Your blade has to be completely grease and dirt free.
There you go. There you go. Anything else on? If you ever tried it, Baz?
No, I haven't actually. I'm quite interested to hear that.
Remind me when I sober up in the morning that I said I'd give you a copy. I give you one. I'm going to send you one down, Baz, and you can give it a go. But stir the shit out of it.
All right.
You've been told.
No. Just take it out with your hands. Break it down, mate. Massage it down like it's a.
Will do. Will do.
Use a fork. Just use a fork.
There's a
It's
diamond
fine.
in that turd.
So anyway, what are your tips? Oh, it's me clock going off again.
Look at that mess name.
That's not true. They aren't stuck completely together. If I get some hot water, I can get them apart.
It's going to get the steam
So, so what's your tip, Baz? Have you got any tips that you like that you really think upped your game when you learnt them? Something that you know, when you learnt it or found out about it, really changed your knife making. Is there anything like that in your repertoire?
Hand sanding for me, I think, was the. Never really been a fan of hand sanding after grinding. But for the last 4 or 5 years now, I've really spent the time. And I think it was Baldy that Peter Bald or Ali were telling me, or I think Ali actually showed me that, because I'd normally grind up to say 320, and then I'd hand sand, and I'd just do mainly up to 400, 600. I think on the Damascus, 800 to 1,000 is good. I've been taking it to about 2,000, just because now that I've found that I find hand sanding quite therapeutic now. where at one stage I couldn't give a shit. Oh, look, there's a couple of scratches in it. She'll be right. If you want to ask a decent price for your work, do a decent job. And so I've really got stuck into hand sanding, which I really didn't like. And now I find that it's one of the things I look forward to. I quite like it.
Do you have a disc sander?
Huh?
Do you have a disc sander?
No.
Oh, okay. So you're coming off the belt. What's your routine? What do you come off the belt at? And then when you start hand sanding?
I come off at 320. I'll start at 40 grit, and I'll go through to 320, sometimes 400, depends. I might put a few Trizac belts over it, but normally I just go from 320. I'll start hand sanding, and I'll start at 240 and work my way up to 1,500, 2,000. And I've just got a vice stand and just hand sand with a flat stick.
Yep.
And it was funny because I thought I was doing all right until I think it was about 2 years ago when John Flaherty did come in, and he had a couple of knives that didn't have handles on that he wanted to get the scratches out of. So he was just telling me how he did it, and it was a lot simpler than the way I was doing it. And I thought, I'd give that a go, and I do that now, and I find that my finish is a lot better. I'm happy with my asking price. I'm happy with my quality of the blade finish. Yeah, so I guess hand sanding is the thing. I encourage people to do it. I don't know if you guys do it.
Oh, absolutely.
I got a secret to hand sanding that cuts your time down by about 1/10. Never make a blade longer than 4 inches by half an inch. You never have any trouble with hands. It's easy.
Oh, fuck's sake.
True. Yeah.
Corin, I'm gonna show you I'm gonna show you 10 years of work for you. So here I have 10 blades. They're all 240 mil or so. That's like a 10-year of work for you, mate. Look.
I think it's more than that, Mert, but that's okay. That's okay. I'm good with that. I'm good with that. I'm not sure why I'm good with that, Mert, but I'll think about it as I sit here and, look at that.
Is that a barrel knife in Blade magazine? My goodness.
Anyway, that's all right. Sorry, Baz. This is just a long-running thing that pisses Mert off that, I like to rub into him regularly.
He pisses everyone else off. He makes one fucking knife a year, mate. He still has the same belt that he used in like 2016.
Yeah, that was the same 400 grit.
They're not nice to me. They fear my beauty. I've told you that.
I must do.
Yeah.
I'd have to agree with you.
We're haters. We're haters, right?
Yeah, that's it. Haters gonna hate. Trolls.
Let these guys have their fucking argument when they stop cuddling and kissing each other. The hand sanding thing is a big point because a lot of guys, when they first get into knife making, they just want to get a knife out so fast, and then they finish and they go, "Oh, look at this cool knife that I've made." And then anyone that's been in the game long enough, especially that does hand sand, that's been critiqued by the likes of Peter Del Rasso, Sean McIntyre, and all those others about the marks that you can't see that they can instantly. They put out these knives, and that's the first thing that you notice is, there's a big scratch there. Or, you sort of go 10 more minutes and that would have been perfect. But I think there's a tendency for them to want to get a knife out so fast that they skip those steps and they don't think. They're sort of like when, I don't know, you and I first started out and you go, there's a scratch. No one will notice that scratch in the Ricasso or in the plunge line. No one's going to see that. And the first thing anyone does is they pick up the knife and have a look and go, didn't you notice that scratch there, mate? And you're like,
what the fuck's wrong with you?
Yeah, that's it. So you can't, you don't want to call it lazy. You don't want to call it lazy, but you don't want to be lazy. You want to just keep getting that done.
Yeah.
Look at Andrew's comment there. Didn't Mert get a knife in the 2020 Knives Annual? Mert, did you get
No,
any knives in the 20?
I did.
I don't think so.
I got
Oh,
two.
that's a shame. Because
I got two in there, Corin.
yeah, look at that. Fuck yeah.
How did you get? How did you get,
I
Corin?
want to.
I didn't get any in 2020. Damn it.
I want to give a chance to the new makers, Corin. That's all.
Oh yeah, that's what I was doing too, Mert. That's what
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
exactly what I was doing.
He's being kind. That's right.
Do you know?
Anyway, happy days. All right, so cool beans. Where are we at, guys? 1 minute.
Well, I think we're pretty close to wrapping it up for the evening.
Yeah.
I've mixed lemoncello with Lefroy, and if anybody ever wants to try that, you've got to
Don't.
drink a bottle of lemoncello.
Limoncello.
Cello.
What the fuck ever? Whatever. Jesus
It's
Christ.
not. It's not Japan where they had lemon gina.
Lemongina, that was nice. It
It's a bit
was.
sour, but it's all right. It'll do. At least
Yeah, it'll do. A little bit bitter. Anyway, any other questions for our special guest, gents? Anything from the crowd? Now's your chance.
Quick.
I got a
5
question.
minutes.
I got a question.
Yes.
Baz, if you were starting over, mate, what would you do different, or would you be doing the same thing? Would you be doing knives again?
I'd like to think that I'd do knives. Yeah, don't know. I didn't really have when I was I didn't have any training in a professional sense for work, so I've always done manual or physical work. I'd probably enjoy just doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I think the way that our industry is going, those younger people that I spoke about, like say Ryan, he's got a good prospect for a good future if he sticks at what he does, because he's still young enough. You know, I've been hanging around for about 20 odd years, but I've only been serious about it in the last 10. If I was in my 40s, there's a scope out there to really to make something of yourself in the industry on a big level. It's all very well to, let's say someone at my age to just be good at making some knives, selling some knives. Sure, we sell a lot of knives, but if I was, let's say, 20 years younger, I would go off in a different direction, I reckon, Mert. Maybe look at some sort of production. If it could be kept in Australia, I'd do something like that. But as it is, I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing.
Yeah, nice.
No, good on you, mate.
Nothing wrong with that
Good on
either.
you. Yeah,
No.
nothing wrong with that. And let's face it, you're doing a great job, mate. We get everybody that's been there, seen what you do, how you do it, and it's not just that; it's your broad support of everybody in the industry.
Yeah.
It's the fact that you're trying to pull people up with you, and that to me speaks more about a bloke's character than anything else. Like you're there, you've got, everyone around you that you're trying to pull up with you, like Fire Ant and all the rest of them, like Jake Mantle and his grinders and so forth, and us. You've done so much for Gamaco. You've done so much for Ryan and others out there as well. Just huge, man. That's so appreciated. It's an industry approach, and that's what I really love. So, tops.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Only
your
that, only that one big black fucking Anthony Biddle mark.
Yeah, but everybody's got that one. So we'll just let's
Yeah,
not
I
bring it
know.
up again.
I know. I can't help it.
Yeah,
It's not-
Stan's-
Can't help it.
just for a second, when I was first on the scene, so to speak, wanting to do what I wanted to do, there was a couple of guys that knew what they were doing, and I asked them for help. And they didn't want to help. And they were older guys. It was a secret, and it was probably best not shared. And I remember back then thinking, well, fuck you. And my mantra now is that anybody wants to know anything, if I've got the knowledge to tell them, I will tell them. I will encourage them. I will help them. I'll give them bits of steel. I'll let them go into the workshop. Just have a bash at it. Because a lot of people that do start knife making, they don't continue it because, you know, it sounds neat. It sounds glamorous and all that sort of stuff, but it's not all cut out to be pretty glamorous, and we all know that it's pretty hard. So whether they're male, female, young or old, I feel while I'm here and doing what I'm doing, I will encourage, I will show people, I'll tell them in any way possible, because I always remember those two blokes that said, "Nah, mate, it's all right. Go and see someone else."
Yeah.
Because
I've got the
those
same
blokes,
view, mate. Absolutely the same
the only bloke like that in the Australian knife making industry now, and I'm going to name names, is Mert Tanzu for not sharing 52-100 Harmons.
He did. We just lost that into the ones and zeros.
No, seriously, this industry is so much fun. The people in it are so cool. If there's anything, you know, we can do to help each other, mate, just like your forge. Mate, I put it out there. I said, Gamako will chuck in a couple of hunch. Brett will chuck in a couple of hunch. Who else wants in? 25 minutes later, Barry had a forge. He'd had a heart attack, and he had a forge. So, you know, I don't even know who those guys were, and I can find out. So I will, and we'll let Barry know. But I know that for everyone that donated, there was 10 that didn't get a chance because it sold out so quick.
That's it.
You know?
Boom.
So,
gone.
Yeah, so just, you know, that's the way it is. And Barry, we appreciate you. Let's get some questions from the crowd. Stan Stanley
Favorite handle material.
Yeah, go for it.
What's your favorite handle material?
Yellow Mallee, I reckon.
Nice.
Nice choice.
I was going to say Mallee Bird, since you seem to use it a lot.
I do. I love it. And Gidgee.
Yeah. Mallee's got a nice South Australian sort of origin, doesn't it? Like that.
Yeah.
Mallee country is.
Sean McIntyre put me on to, I remember in some of his early shows that he made some beautiful knives, and they had this magnificent wood
He
that
does all right. He does all right.
Yeah, he's not bad.
Yeah,
if he was taller, you could give him some respect.
Exactly, but he's not.
He's a great maker.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah, so I like Yellow Mallee. Gidgee.
Good. All right, Anthony Kittle says, it was a good night, legends, and Kev. Dino Handsaker says, Ryan Dowdle is a bloody top bloke. So are you, Baz.
Thanks, Dino.
Matt Snape says, if you could ever only use one knife, what would it be? More a classic. Sorry.
I think it's Joseph Rogers bunny now.
A what?
A company called Joseph Rogers made a little black bunny, what they called a bunny knife. I've always liked it. Or it'd be a drop point hunter, Loveless style drop point.
I just bought one off Del Rasso actually. This is my lockdown spend. I bought a knife off Del Rasso. Oh, I'm looking at the bunny knife. You just can Google that. All right, cool. Julianne says, good night, boys.
Good night, Julianne. Probably already gone to bed. That was a little while ago.
Corey Cunningham says, if you weren't restricted by materials or time, what would you make?
If I could make a drop point hunter as good as Brett in New Zealand.
Sandow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're out there, sensational. And they were my first love, like a lot of people, I guess. But yeah, that's probably what I do. Drop point hunters.
Jamie Bishop, aka Sausage Man, says thanks, Baz, which is an understatement of the year. Good on your sausage.
Thank you, mate.
Nick Allen says, Baz, you're a legend and always unbelievably generous with your time and knowledge. Here, well said.
Yep.
Thank you, Nick.
Connie Hansen says, thanks for a great podcast, guys. Just waiting for Mert's song. We all are, Connie. Just to put it out there, we're all waiting for Mert's song. Some of us have been waiting for a long time. Dino says, you're a champion, Baz. Dino, that's all right, mate. Get your hand off it, Dino. You've said it, mate. We are a brotherhood. Dino, hands up. Dino, told you about this. Raymond Davies says, one was me. Now, that was in reference to I fucking don't know what, but he said it, so it's all good. Blair Walker says, what tools, if any, do you wish you'd started using earlier?
Power hammer.
Oh, probably hydraulic press.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, fair call.
I think the answer is this sander, but you don't know it yet.
You haven't used the
You're gonna be like,
sander.
shit, I should have used this sander.
I can hook you up. I know a guy. That's all right. Jimmy Barber says, oh, yes, J.R. Bunny. No, what? Oh, yeah, that's in response to the Joseph Rogers bunny knife. Douglas says, another great Thursday night's entertainment catch-up. Good to see Baz as a guest. Yeah, thanks again, Baz, from us.
Absolutely.
We'll get to that. Andrew says, what does Baz have in his collection? Anything from other makers? That's a good one, Baz. What you got?
Ooh.
I've got three.
Yeah.
I've got the early Steve Pellicetti drop point hunter
Nice.
with snakewood on it. I've got, I think it's Early Bastion's first flipper.
Really?
Titanium,
First flipper.
which I use every day. And I've got a couple of Ryan Dowdall's hunters.
Nice.
Very nice.
Nice.
Yep.
That's a good collection. Filicetti, for those that don't know Steve Filicetti, he was basically the first doing mosaic Damascus in the world, really.
The Filicetti flip.
Yeah, it's quite incredible that when I went up to his property, I hadn't really seen a hydraulic press in action, and Steve had made something up that was attached to the PTO of his tractor, and it was just an amazing thing in this big shed. I don't know if that was, sparked me into doing things or not, but I remember being quite impressed. And I vaguely remember that he was doing a samurai sword, and outside beside the shed, he had one of those old claw and ball baths, wrought iron baths.
Yeah.
And he took this sword out of the forge and put it in this bath straight, and it just did a natural. It was
story.
just outstanding. I'll never forget. So maybe that where I got the hydraulic press thing for.
There's a young fella called Jez who joins us sometimes. Jez came up to me at a Iron Fest a few years ago now, and Jez says, "I'm going to make a samurai sword," which is like pretty much what every beginner says to me. And I sort of go, "Oh yeah, right, or whatever." And then he went over to Keith Flutter and he said, "See how your knives have the bit that comes out of the blade that sticks through in the middle instead of being full?" He said, "They'd be heaps stronger, mate, if they were full." And Keith said, "Fuck off, mate." and then Ches bought a piece of steel off me to make a samurai sword and came in probably about 3 months later with a samurai sword he'd made from it. It was fucking magnificent. He'd filed it by hand. It was beautiful. And And so, yeah, Jez is pretty cool. But he goes to Ironfest now, and he does that quench that you're talking about in a glass-fronted tank in front of the crowd.
Nice.
Water
Man,
quench.
that takes balls, and
It's
it's glass-fronted, so you can watch it bend, and you can even hear it crack. That happened once. That was really cool. So there you go. The
Spectacular.
Tink of Doom. Anyway, Francis says, thanks, guys, for bringing all this love together. And Raymond Davies says, I chipped in for the Forge. Good on you, Raymond. There was heaps of people that missed out on that because, seriously, it was like there was $400 or something in dollar increments, and it sold out in literally 25 minutes. So I'm sure Baz appreciates it, or at least he will when we get it to him. That's happening this week.
And if I could just say a thank you to everybody. It's straight from my heart to you guys. It's I thank you very much. Cheers.
No, mate, it's the least we can do for what you've done for us, mate. And I mean, I don't want to blow smoke up your ass, but seriously, those comments that you make on people's posts and on, before a knife show, I always get that comment that says, good luck this weekend from Baz. It happens just about every time.
Doesn't go unnoticed.
Man, never goes unnoticed, Baz. We love you, man.
Thank
Well
you,
done,
guys.
son. Good on you.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, good on you, man. All right. So one last thing. Goichi's wife said she had fun listening along. We didn't do too much wrong this week because we had Baz and we're trying to be a little bit more
We were well
professional on his
behaved.
benefit.
Yeah.
So there was no cabbages. There was no fuck you, Kevs.
Fuck.
There was none of that.
I was waiting
Because-
for it.
Yeah, well, we let you all down, and for that we blame Kev. So,
Yeah.
all right.
Fucking
We
Kevin.
wrap it up, boys.
It's the bloody poison, mate. H2O. It's bad for you.
If we don't wrap it up in 3.5 minutes, then it's going to tick over to another file on the podcast, which is harder to edit. So just let's fucking finish this now.
Let's wrap it up
See you
now.
later,
Matt,
everybody.
Over to you. Sing
Thanks for
song.
listening, guys. Don't
Pleasure.
forget to
Thank
rate
you,
and review
everyone.
us.
Don't
Thank
you,
disappear,
Baz.
Baz. Just stay on for a minute. Thanks, everybody. Have a good one. We really appreciate you joining us tonight. And
Thanks, everyone.
yeah, there's we've had a pretty record big crowd, 60 people tonight. That's awesome. Good on you guys.
Yeah.
Jesus.